Welcome to Sovereign Mamas, the podcast sanctuary for visionary women who are building lives, businesses, and legacies in alignment with their feminine power. I'm your host, Julia Jörg, intuitive business coach, mama of two, and systems strategist for solo-led entrepreneurs. Here, we honor both your sacred role as a mama and your wild vision as a changemaker. Expect soul-aligned strategy, raw storytelling, behind the scenes, and powerful conversations that support you in scaling your business without sacrifice. If you're done choosing between success and sovereignty, you're home. Let's begin. Welcome back to the Sovereign Mamas podcast, to today's show. And as always, sit back, relax. This is your time, your moment to enjoy a peace and quiet, if you can, part of your day to tune in and tap into other women's stories, inspiring nuggets of wisdom, and really just see what lands today for you. Because as you know, this show is all about the variety and the different layers of motherhood, entrepreneurship, spirituality. We've had so many incredible guests so far, and each guest is topping always my expectations. So I'm sure the same will happen today. Actually, I'm cheating a little bit because I already know today's guest. So usually I go into these interviews blank, but today, welcome, dear Hynd. I'm very, very pleased and so happy to see you again here on the show. We've done our podcast swap. You're part of the Sovereign Mamas Secrets of Sovereign Mamas book editions and so on and so forth. And I'm already rambling, so welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Julia.
Of course, of course. And yeah, there's so much. I mean, I don't even know where to start. In your case, you have such an incredible story. You are impressive in all the areas. Mama of four. Your business background is, one of a kind. You've done the corporate, you've done the entrepreneurship. So where do we even start? I feel like let's tap into your maybe let's summarize it so we're all on the same page, because I feel like your journey is so extraordinary, from the World Bank and advising a prime minister, and then creating a multi-million dollar business as an entrepreneur, and then starting over again. So in your own words, what would you say has created this fire in you that makes it possible to do all the things that you're doing?
Okay, well, thank you so much for this introduction. It looks so impressive. Impressed myself. I'm like, wow, this is all me. I think when I look back, my journey is I always followed what came my way with so much love and gratitude, and I embraced every part of it, and I gave it my all. And I think that's what I did throughout, whether when I was in school, in a university, doing my PhD, and it just that it's almost like every next step seems to unfold as I was moving forward on my journey. So as I was finishing my PhD, I was working on development and impact and sustainability. So it was just felt so natural to be able to do that at a bigger sphere. So I joined the World Bank, and I was working on projects at a larger scales, projects that help, alleviate poverty in the poorest areas of the world. So I was fascinated by how such an institution can actually help countries rise up in terms of wealth creation, socioeconomic development. So I was intrigued and I was fascinated by the how. And so the why is like the passion, the development, and all that, but just the how. So it's like, it almost was, how can I discover the how through the work I do, through my being involved in projects in Laos, in Thailand, on and hydropower in Namtum. It's just incredible. And also in Latin America and Brazil, strategy for the environment, in Argentina, strategy for water. So it was just such a fun discovery every time. And
Mhm.
so, and then I was like, now where is all this money coming from? Okay, it's finance. So let me go and do some more and understand finance. So I found myself in the treasury, raising bonds, raising in millions and billion dollars so that all this money could actually go to this project. So it was my own discovering of how do we make the world a better place. And
Mm.
then I came back and came back home. So I'm from Morocco. I grew up in Morocco. Then I went and I lived first in France as I studied and then in the US. And then I'm like, okay, it's time to come back. The family was calling me back. Come back. You need to get married. Come back. And I was like, oh. And so I came back and I worked with the prime minister's office, so the head of the government. And it was setting up strategies because that's what I do. I'm a strategist by training. My whole, my PhD was about how do you set up strategies that are at the visionary level, and then you you articulate that into actionable plans, and so that you can then monitor the impact on the ground. So that's what I continued on doing, and I did strategy. Then I'm like, okay, let's move to finance a little bit. Let's get bored, and I found myself at the stock exchange doing finance.
Oh my gosh.
It
I
is
get bored.
fun. So it was like a whole story on how can you create a path that is delightful, enjoyable, and yet challenges me in giving my best in working, in contributing. And so that's
And
how it,
would
yeah.
you say that all these different stages have like reshaped the way you see leadership and and also success as a woman because you're doing this in a man's world, like in man area. So how
It
is
was
that?
all man-made.
Mm,
I always found myself in a very male dominated, I'm looking for my, in a very male dominated space because I was in engineering, and in engineering, we were like maybe two students in the class or something. So always find myself as a minority, as a woman. And it was the same, it goes the same for also when I was at the World Bank, there are women, incredible women that I took as role models, and I was inspired and amazed and marveled by the way they do things. Like one of my first director is Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who is today the head of OMS, so the organization for, I think it's trade organization, the WTO is the World Trade Organization. So it's like these women that have, today are big leaders and big decision makers. I worked with them, but there are few of them. So we kind of learned how to be okay by being surrounded with men and not
mhm,
feel like, oh, it's gonna diminish me. It's gonna be, no, it's just like the way it is. And with the hope that we will pave the way for women to come. So things have completely changed 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later. We have more women.
mhm.
So the shape of leadership and female leadership, particularly, have changed because you see more of us in different high level positions. We see
Oh
more of
yeah,
us
I
as well.
agree, and that's so it's so refreshing, and it's and well, I feel like we're still overcoming that, or was walking towards it becoming a normality. But yes, I feel like we're definitely on a good path. And so you created the BAL method, the
Yeah.
Believe, Act, Lead,
BAL method. Yes.
BAL. Yes. And so can you walk us through each of these pillars or just like give us an overview and your why you created that?
Sure. Yeah. So when 20 years later in my career, well, I think I had already my three children, and I was like, maybe now it's time for me to have more free time and create my own company. So I became an entrepreneur in 2014. And I did that because I wanted to be able to organize things my way. But I figured, like, now I know enough that I can actually create business the way and do the project structuring, do the thing that I used to do at the sovereign fund or in the different offices. And so I became an entrepreneur, and it went well. Like, it was good. I had a nice team, and we had new great projects. We reached the seven figure, we reached the eight figures. It was really good. So it was like going. I spent a lot of time working hard, and I see that because my children will tell me the time where you were doing this and this and that, we didn't see much of you. I'm like, I was like, pretend I didn't hear that. And then, yeah, and then but then I was faced with a lot of challenges because I was managing a large scale investment funds. And it's always very complicated when you have investors, when you have a lot of ideas, a lot of views, a lot of opinions, and it's hard. It's a tough word. I mean, you started by saying, being a female in the very male dominated environment is quite complicated. So when I had chosen to absorb all the losses and everything so that I can reach a peace of mind, but it was not the case. But so I found myself in the depth of a lot of challenges, and I'm like, what do I do when we have built so much through the years, and then one day it's like all these circumstances and everything are shaken to the ground. Like, what do you do? And this is how I recreated myself. I found strength within the depth of the losses and everything. And being a mom has helped me a lot to be able to, like, let's see, how do I find the strength? And not just for me, it's actually more for my children, because they were looking at me as their role model, as
Mhm.
the pillar, and that pillar couldn't just break. So I had to really be able to restructure myself and like rebuild myself piece by piece. And
Mhm.
the day I made that decision, I'm like, I need to let go of everything of that identity and create a new one
Mhm.
that is stronger, a new one that has more resilience, a new one that can carry on differently. So,
Mhm.
and this is how I created BAL Method, because I'm like, okay, what is the process that we go through when things don't go right, things don't work the way we want them to? We need to start by believing in ourselves, because I lost that part. I
Mhm.
didn't believe in me anymore. And I'm like, how could I lose that part? On paper, everything's still okay in the diplomas
Yeah.
and everything, but on another papers, maybe not. So I'm like, oh, what do I do? How do I get to believe in me again? And this
Mhm.
is how I created this method and the codes that helps us find ourselves when we lose it completely. So it started with believing in yourself, believing in the possibilities again. And for some women, believing in possibilities more than you have thought and accepted to be what you deserve today. Like, just like, let's raise the bar a little bit more and let's believe for something better. Let's believe for be having it all, instead of like, oh, let me just have this, let me just have that. So we don't need to go so down to be able to go through this process. And so it's believing, then it's taking actions. And how do I take actions? Um, I'm very disciplined. I'm structured because that's how I am, because I'm formed. I'm trained that way. I work that way. But then when the emotions are too high, your intelligence is not there anymore. You're like, where is my mind? Can you come back and start structuring again? But you can't, because you're overwhelmed with emotional states that just are so painful. So
Mhm.
taking actions while keeping the belief. So it's like a whole iterative process. You believe, you take action, you lead. Just a little step. Then you do it again and you keep on believing again and you take another action and you lead yourself again. And that's how you grow as the incredible leader,
Mhm.
and how you can use the process to remind yourself each time when you something put you off track or make you question yourself again. And
Amazing.
this is the balance.
That's about, I love that. That's so incredible. Yeah. And it just, I mean, it's this embodied real life or lived experience that you pour into this method. And it just shows how I love what you said. It not only shows your resilience, of course, it does, like the person you are, but also how motherhood gave you this reason, your why, your pull forward. And I think a lot of women who are listening here can relate to that in, whatever shape or form it is for them. Um, I think thanks to our children, we are the better versions of ourselves. We are striving to, create impact and move forward despite the chaos in the world and our surroundings. So I really, really love that. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it
And
is. It's to our children and the motherhood. Motherhood brings us so much more than we can ever imagine. And it's not about just like, this is my little, it's like just little tiny things. It's in the depth of who we are. Something
mhm,
shifts,
mhm,
and it shifts. And when you let it guide you,
mhm,
it will become invincible,
mhm.
truly. Mm.
Maybe we need to go a bit deeper here because for the women who feel like they've lost it all or, they're starting from scratch again. So how can they turn that breakdown into a breakthrough? A moment of power. What's like an actionable tip that you could give away without giving away your whole secrets inside the process?
No, I don't. I'm very generous in sharing. I think
I know.
what it's like, I mean, in fact, you can find, everybody can find it. I have a book, Believe, Act, Lead. I'm trying to find, I didn't bring it by my side. I have it in French here, but it's the same. It's Believe, Act, Lead, and it's
Mhm.
on Amazon, so everybody can have it. And
We'll link
and
in
if it's
the
what
show notes.
yeah, and if it wasn't enough, there is the second one, which is the art of self leadership. And these are the 12 codes that actually really give you the step by step on how you can transform your life. And you can just take it and like follow it one by one. And I promise you, something in you shifts. And so let's start with the basic one. So
Mhm.
me, what I had what I needed is I needed to wake up not feeling that it's a nightmare and I'm expecting something. I had to change that first thought in the morning
Mhm.
because we can sleep and then you can, okay, when you can get yourself to sleep. Sometimes it's complicated when things are really hard, so it's okay to get help. Even if you need clinical help, that's a different story. I mean, this does not replace it, but you can actually use that to help you emerge from, like a gloomy situation. And it's the decision. You decide, you have to truly decide that you are going to change. It starts with a decision. You got to decide. No one can, I can decide for the person, I can, but you cannot change a person if she does not decide that that's what she wanted to do.
Mhm.
So like be my decision. I remember it vividly. I was coming home. I had a board meeting and it was just the most complicated one. It was really horrible. And I came home and I was like crying because I was like devastated. And I saw my children. I saw my girls actually. They were in the kitchen having their hot chocolate, you know, and I'm like just happy. And I'm like, I can't. I cannot be this way for them. And I remember that moment. I will always remember that moment, which is like, for my girls, I'm
Mhm.
gonna do everything to
Mhm.
pick myself up. And when you are faced with too much complications, you cannot, you can decide, but your emotional state will not change because you've decided. Because it's like hunting you. It's like all these monsters that are just like there hunting you. And the situation that is complicated. And so I'm like, what is it that could switch my from being in the fear and scared and the doubt, but another state? And the only way is gratitude. You have to be able to find gratitude and invite gratitude in your heart,
Mhm.
even though there's nothing you can be grateful for at that moment because you hate everything about you, about everyone, about everybody that didn't help you. It's like everything.
Mhm.
Yet, the only way is to get out of this virtual circle of negativity and go to another one. And it takes work, focus, and discipline. and intentionality. It's like, all right, how can I be grateful for something? I breathe. Okay, it's true. Grateful for breathing. I sleep in my bed. Okay, grateful for my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the basics.
The
And
small
people
things,
start
yeah. Water,
just small
air, my
things.
children.
You,
Mm.
you just like let go of your, like you needing to be grateful for the big structured project, whatever that is. That's like not the time for that. It's the
Mm-hmm.
time to go back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to go back to basic before you can launch yourself back up to something bigger. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to back to the basics. And when I start understanding that, I'm like, okay, I'm logical. I'm an engineer by training, so I need evidence. And that's how I'm like, okay, what do I know how to do best? I know how to do research, I know how to write, I know how to find, solutions, ideas. I'm like, let me go find out if there are other women who have done and have gone through something similar. And
Mm-hmm.
have they made it back? I needed evidence that is doable, right? I needed that. I needed something to tell me, like, yeah, it could happen.
Yes. Make it your new normal. And
Yeah, and I did.
and
I
you
wrote a book. Wait, I don't even know if I have. Oh, yeah, I have. I wrote
oh,
it.
this
So I,
book.
I went to the farm and I stayed for 6 months. I'm like, okay, let me go back in history and see what did women do. And I found that so many women have lost it all and came back with billion-dollar companies. It was fascinating to do that. And I'm
Mm,
like, let's go back to even women couldn't go to school, yet they made it.
made
Yet
it.
they did the best research. And so I wrote this African girl, African woman. It's woman of the word, how agile and empowered, tech savvy, they can transform the world and the continent.
Mm.
And so I needed that. And it's like, oh, she did it. Okay, that's good. Ah, she did it. Okay. So I kind of
Yeah.
created my own my own word with myself. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah.
But it,
Yeah.
it's all it's truly all there is. Like once you are in a situation, you just have to rewire your brain, and it works in the most logical way for your brain. So since you know yourself so well, you knew this was going to do the trick, right? Other women might need, to surround themselves with others, see others, like living. But for you, it was the data research, and that helped. And but it's such a good reminder of what we spend energy on, what we focus on becomes our reality, and it's just truly that, right? It's truly that. Oh.
Totally that.
And that also leads me to my next question, because you also speak about the energetics of wealth. And
Yeah.
that's a little bit different, but still, it also goes into this, um, yeah, like, or explain it in your ways. How do you teach this to women? How is this part of your method, the inner, when you're creating with them leadership positions and mindsets? How is this part?
Well, because to me, this whole method, it's like when you say believe in yourself, it's believe in you give yourself the space to be who you are.
Mhm.
You believe that who you are is enough. So it's like the being, and as women that are in, high achievers and who worked hard, who did all this, we are more in the masculine doing thing. We
Mm,
have let go of just being and the feminine energetics of life, just understanding that just being who you are in the house is enough. You don't need to do so that you can demonstrate your role, that you are important. You belong there just because you are. And coming back to understanding this is so liberating, because that means, like, I don't need to do anything. No, you don't need to do anything. You just need to be, you know?
yeah.
And that big part, it's like, what? There is this whole new energetic. that we have never, ever
Mm,
considered or thought. For me, it's like, what are they talking about? It's like, this is a woo stuff. I don't do that stuff. I'm an engineer. All right. But I came to become so close to that part because if I have created this BAL method, reached 7 figures, all of that, I don't think it's because I'm doing more. It's
mhm,
because I am being aligned with this understanding, with understanding the frequency and what it means to be a match for clients, what it means to be a match for wealth, what it means to open a portal so that money can start coming in, what it means to reprogram yourself so that actually you do believe and you align with money coming in to you continuously and from different sources. Because
mhm,
that to me before it was like, I don't even know what that means. Like,
mhm.
show me the tables, the Excel, the planning. What are you selling? What are you doing? How many doing things? That's okay, because that's part of what I do as well. I'm a businesswoman, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a financier. So, in my taking action, and even when I work with my clients, my favorite part is when we have to do business plans. I'm like, oh my God, this is the day of the business plan. Let's go and do the numbers. Because that's my favorite part, because that's like who I am. It's like, it's just my fingers type it without even knowing what I'm doing. It's like
Nice.
that's my stuff.
So how did you end up tapping into this other world? Let's call it the woo-woo world.
Well, so when I was not feeling well, I'm like, I need help. So I was coached with the biggest. So I really invested like 100,000 in me in my coaching in understanding that other part of people that haven't done any, they didn't go to school, nothing, and they're making millions. Like, come and tell me, what is that? What is this reality that I don't know of? And I'm like, I wish I knew it. I probably wouldn't have attracted as much drama in my corporate life. But
Mhm,
I didn't know. I didn't know that stuff. And this is why I'm making it my quest to discover that and to understand that when you align with whatever level you are at ease with, you can create it. And we get so caught up in how am I going to do it that we often lose the sight of what is it that I wanted to actually be a match for, because we have put in
mhm,
too much blockages, then even if you say it, it's blocked anyway. So the being is believing, the doing is all those things we know how to do so well. But then the part that is more amazing is, do you know how to receive things? And that's
mhm,
where leadership comes in. It's like when you lead yourself to be the best receiver. And we don't know what it means to be the best receiver, and at least not for me, because I was the one that was given to everyone, to my family, to everyone, just like I was given. Like when it's my birthday, I'm the one giving gifts. I'm like, no, this has to change. This has to change this whole thing. Like, how do I receive it?
Something's wrong here. Oh my gosh. Yes, yes, yes.
Funny, fun,
It,
but it's fun.
but isn't it also how like your story is also a perfect example of how you are just pushed towards your awakening, right? So you were, if everything in your career would have gone linear upwards, exponentially, well, upwards, 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 you would have not never tapped into this other reality, this other knowing, this truth that we know is true. Our soul knows, but we're so disconnected. Society doesn't talk about it. You have to like, check if the other person also knows about it. It's like so weird. And then once you're in, you're suddenly feeling like, doesn't everyone know about this? Yeah.
Yeah,
And only those really like some people I am always impressed when I talk to 20 years or like in their 20s and I come across more and more younger people speaking highly like awakened, spiritually open, so wise. And I'm like, wow, how is it possible for them to already know all the things that I discovered in my late 30s, like 40s and yes, but it's also giving me hope that it becomes more and more a conversation and it's something we need to be leading and needs to be taught. Like I love having young children around me still. Like my boys are 6 and 8 and I I enjoy talking to them now in those codes, in the, the magic exists, and really allowing them to still be connected to their wisdom. And so, yeah, I just feel like you had to go through all this and really then in order to ask for the key. And there you
That's
got
right.
it.
In order to that's the key, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, although painful, but then again, wisdom comes with
wisdom
lessons that are
comes.
quite painful, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, our listeners are mothers, right? Mothers and entrepreneurs. And often, and I know your story, and I know we talked about this before when unpacking your chapter for the Secrets of Sovereign Mama's book that you're part of.
Yes,
And I'm really excited to read your chapter
me
soon.
too. I'm so excited to be part of this
Yeah.
beautiful project. Thank you so much for having me. I
Yes,
think it's amazing. Yeah, to have different angles, we look at things differently. But my take is that motherhood has been the best blessing.
exactly.
My
And that's what I wanted to ask you because you mentioned this before and it stuck with me because a lot of women who enter and, embark on this journey of motherhood, then they feel, first of all, that the first years are challenging, but your take on it is completely the opposite. You feel like you've always enjoyed having children around. What do you think has made that so enjoyable for you?
I always have been so grateful of the miracle of motherhood.
Hmm.
And I have enjoyed well, I wanted to be a mom and I remember when I was working and long hours and I was living on my own in Washington and I was longing, when is the time I'm going to meet someone and be a mom? Would I have the time to do all of that? And so it was like when it came, I had welcomed it with I have done so much. I've already had a beautiful career, like already 10 years of working, jet setting around the world, discovering, having seen the world already, traveled everywhere, contributed to the best, biggest strategies. And so I have done already so much that it came at a time where I was so ready for them. So embraced every part of it, every part. And it was just, every part is just beautiful to me. Even the long hours, waking up in the night, it was the most beautiful thing. I was just so grateful to be able to protect and, you know, be the best mom to the children.
Hmm.
And that's how I feel even now. I mean, they're adolescents, a different story, but still, like, trying to understand the angle of each one is like, what? My son is different. My daughter is like, oh my God. Every time I'm like, what, like, how do I do it with her?
Mhm.
And it's like, and then I'm like, yeah, let's discover, let's understand. How can they feel that they're the luckiest to have a mom like me with them, that
Mhm.
understand them, that can give them their best? So really what I love is to be able to show them that I love my work. I do it because I love it. I'm enjoying it. And it's nice to go and do what you love. And it's nice to find what you love in what you do, in
Mhm.
everything, like whatever at school, whatever. And it's just and be so appreciative of everything. Because often the youngest generation is just they don't care for anything. Everything's like blah, blah, blah. So it's like to have them appreciate every moment, it's quite challenging for
Mhm.
this digital generation
Mhm.
because they're like scroll, 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 scroll. So they can even feel like they want to scroll you out of the room to go to another room. It's like everything gets scrolled up or aside or like out. And so to be able to bring them back to the present moment so that they can also get to appreciate every
How do
minute.
you do
Otherwise,
it? What's your secret to bring them back? Like,
well, my children are talented, so I had them really, I put them in music. I really
Mhm.
like to have them appreciate things they can do with their hands. She plays piano. Okay. Can you hear how beautiful that is? Take time to repeat it. You know, just like almost anchor yourself back down. Like you can't have them meditate, but you can have them sit and repeat things. And by doing that, they become okay, good, and appreciating of what they do. Dancing. My son go golfing, which I'm quite impressed with because he's 18 years old, and sometimes he goes for 3 hours. I'm like, really? He does that? Even me, I got surprised. So it's
Oh,
like,
wow.
really? Yeah. So, but that's because I was wanted to be able to give each one a hobby, something they love, something
Mhm.
they feel when they do and repeat, it becomes so beautiful. And
Mhm.
they can appreciate the beauty that they get to create themselves.
Mhm.
See,
That's such good advice, and I feel like that's really something tangible. At least I'm now noticing more and more that even though my kids, with 6 and 8, they don't have a phone yet, but they're surrounded by digital things, right? So I obviously also have a phone. They know that a phone can generate income, that this is what mommy does for her living, and so I can feel that there is this, yeah, difference in children nowadays. The more they are connected with um, the internet, the less they are connected with real life. And so it's really, I think that's drawn me also to, or that keeps me in these places that we are, and immersing in nature. I'm just the happiest mom seeing my boys come back dirty, bare feet, like being outside, wanting to, like, my little one just had a hammer in his hand this afternoon saying, I'm gonna find where I can put this nail outside. And he was just going and finding a tree. And I said, well, find a piece of wood that's not a living thing and stuff like that. But these conversations, I love that we have them. And I think when you listen to this and you feel like you're losing your child in technology, it's also not something that we can fight, right? Because it's part of our lives. But I love how you do it by anchoring them back into reality with passions, with something real life related, and getting them where they still feel like they're doing it because they like it. And that's, I think, yeah, number one secret to staying in touch and connection with your children.
it is. It is. Absolutely.
Um,
Mm.
I think maybe, I mean, you shared so many beautiful things and insights into your world and wisdom. Is there anything like a message, some last final words for the listeners that you feel like needs to be heard today, or that you would like to give away?
My message is really no matter what happened, no matter what you go through, keep on believing in yourself. Keep on believing on a better future. Keep on believing on all the possibilities that you can attract into your life because you can change the reality. You are the master of your life. So believe in yourself, take the actions, take step by step. Don't go into defining the 300 steps before, just do
Mm-hmm.
one, one action at a time and get to lead yourself through that journey through and you get to reshape it as you go, come back again, check whether you believe or not, or you're just kind of, or you're like pretending, and check that again and take another action and carry on. So that's my message. Everything is possible.
Yes, I love that. So good, so good, so good. Thank you so much for sharing your message, your wisdom, your time, your presence. This is truly highly appreciated. And I know a lot of people would love this and will spread the word. And yes, thanks everyone for listening. And if this episode resonated, then please leave a comment, share it with us, what clicked the most today. And we leave all the links to the books and to finding you, of course, in the show notes. So thank you so much again for being here. And again, thanks everyone. See you next time, or hear you next time.